Dan, since I've got so much time on my hands, I thought we could knock out about 12 podcast episodes in a row. Let's do it.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but I do know that, yeah, you haven't been around your wood yard very much with your tractor being gone.
Yeah, let's go, Dan. Let's hit record. Let's just knock these out. No tractor, no work.
Well,
I just sit here on the couch and record.
one episode at a time. One episode at a time. Let's just stick with that.
It's amazing how it's almost like your couch. You know, you don't appreciate your couch until someone steals it when you're away at work and you come home and you're like, where's my couch?
Yeah. Happens all the time.
Couch thievery is a growing concern here in this country. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I
can imagine. So my tractor's in the shop and I have a whole laundry list of things to do, but if I focus on just the things that I can only accomplish with my tractor, it just gives me some time off.
Yeah, well, and I think this is the good time of the year to take a little time off. It's a good time to send that tractor in for service.
Yes, the deliveries are still consistent, and the weather outside is not conducive to a happy production day.
Oh,
no.
It's not been good. Not been good for outdoor activities, any outdoor activities, let alone making firewood.
Well, you know, they always say that firewood warms you up twice, but not if you own a firewood processor, because you get kind of cold standing there pushing that button.
pulling levers and pushing buttons doesn't keep you too warm.
Yeah. And I mean, people think that it makes life easy, but you know, my elbow gets sore after about like the fourth cord that I made. Oh, my elbow, got to ice it down.
Yep. My wrist gets a little sore from pushing the levers on the 37D. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's a tough lifestyle, I'm here to tell you.
Yep.
Tough lifestyle here in Ohio. Hello, everyone. My name is Joe. I am a YouTube personality known as Ohio Woodburner. And my fellow Woodhound partner is
Dan from Back 40 Firewood. Also, social media personality, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I am also a professional firewood delivery service, and Dan is a lowly
hobbyist. we haven't gotten that in the last few episodes, so hopefully those who have been waiting to hear that little jingle are now satisfied.
Well, we've just been focused on putting out A1 content.
Yes.
And sometimes we lose track of our checklist of things to do, which is begin every episode with the word Dan, complain about the weather.
Yep.
Talk about avoiding work, and saying the word hobbyist.
There you go. Well, now we've just hit the whole checklist, so I guess this episode is in the bank. We're done with this one.
Yeah. But what about the taxes?
Dan? Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, speaking about the taxes.
Yes.
I was doing a little perusing around social media like you were, and I found something very interesting. And I actually sent it over to you because it deals with that great state of Ohio.
The great state of Ohio, the easiest state to spell. It's high in the middle and round on both ends. And it is the focus of a Facebook. I don't know. What is this? Well, the Facebook group is from Northeast Ohio because the title has 330 in the name. And that's that's our area code.
Yep.
So the topic involved the sales of firewood, but specific in Summit County. Summit County is mostly the Akron Canton area of Northeast Ohio. And if you are a fellow motorhead, if you've heard of Summit Auto Racing, the big parts store, that's where this is from, Summit County. But this had started its own fire, talking about firewood, just from reading the comments.
Well, and that was the thing is I read the I guess article or the little post first, and I was just like, all right, this is just I think pretty standard, common like public service announcements. I'll just quick summarize, but it was
Yeah.
basically telling people uh, what to look out for and just restating the regulations around firewood to protect consumers when they buy firewood. For instance, firewood in a non packaged form is sold by a measure called a cord or fraction of a cord. Measurement terms such as rick, rack, face cord, pile, or truckload are prohibited. Sellers must provide a buyer with an invoice that shows the seller's name, address, phone number, phone number, the price per cord, the total amount, all that stuff. And then the last point they made was that the buyers should record the license plate number of the wood truck, the truck of the wood, the truck that delivered the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
So
the last thing was just that a reminder that to sell firewood in Summit County, there's a license and I guess permit required to do that because it's a taxable product.
yes. So this is a typical social media post. And I just happen to know a lot of this because I am a professional delivery service here in Ohio. And the headline, I'm looking at it right now, Dan. Maybe we can post this link in the podcast notes. I don't know if people will be able to see it. I mean, I can see it. It could be
We
a
should be able
public
to.
group. The group is called 330 to go, but the headline reads Fiscal Officer Scalise. They're talking about the Summit County Fiscal Officer, Kristen Scalise. Anyhow, she announces firewood regulations. So that's just wrong right from the very beginning. They're making it sound like that this is this lone fiscal officer who works for Summit County is just arbitrarily listed all of these rules. And this is just wrong because all of these rules are from the state of Ohio's weights and measures on rules that a person who sells firewood must follow. And they're all geared around towards protecting the consumer. So there's nothing new that you just read there that I hadn't already known about. And I think that these have been in force. Well, the fact that you can't use arbitrary terms like face cord, rick, rack kind of stuff. It has to be a fraction of a cord. This has been around forever. The fact that you have to have a permit in Summit County is specific to Summit County, but Ohio has declared firewood taxable. And it's been that way since like 2015. When our state government decided to tax the sale of firewood. And I'm still waiting on the Tea Party, Dan. I've had my pitchfork for all of these
Well,
years in my
that
garage, but there's been no Tea Party response to this.
well, that's where when you go to then the comments from this post, that's where
Oh my gosh,
you
where it
started
goes south.
seeing the pushback. But I was on the same page as you. I kind of thought all of those, regulations or whatever was listed out there was all already in place and kind of known about because in Wisconsin it's the same way.
Yeah.
But these people took this as like, they are coming after firewood. They just want their tax money. They want to crush the little guy. It's all about government takeover. But I don't know. I have two. One thought is you see a lot of people out there wanting to start a business, run a business, be a business. Everything always they're talking about is business. But yet when they come to something like this, then they don't want to be a business. So
Yeah. All of the rules that you just read off, in my judgment, and this is me being a professional delivery service and a consumer, all of those rules are reasonable.
yes,
And what they do is they give the consumer recourse for when they get ripped off. And I, of course, have not seen every firewood delivery here in the state of Ohio, but the ones that I have seen, because I stumble upon them at some of the customers that I deliver to and some of the restaurants that I had taken over, I have yet to find an accurate firewood delivery. The quantities are always wrong, number one, but number two, they're always short. I've never seen an abundance of firewood in a delivery. They are always short. I got ripped off myself. I saw an ad from a local guy with a dump truck, and it was about a cord, but the price was still good. So I bought it, and he came and dumped it in my yard. I stacked it, and it was not even a half of a cord.
oh,
Yeah. So why is this such a big deal to have standards when, when you go buy gasoline, why are we not as cavalier with how much comes out the nozzle when we fill up when you fill up your Prius, Dan, why are we not as cavalier with getting what we pay for with gasoline as we would be for firewood?
that is a good question. Once again, it comes back to how firewood, for some reason, always gets kind of put into a different category than, from everyone who sells firewood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that load that I had bought too, that was the physical stacking of the wood. Beyond that, all the lengths were wrong too. There was a whole bunch of offcuts, real short pieces in there. It wasn't even close. And this is what I would say to myself. Well, that's my competition. And when I come in with this big high price, but you know what? You get what you pay for too. And chances are what you thought you bought wasn't anywhere close to the quantity that you thought you were going to get. And what's the big deal here? You have to provide an invoice that has the quantity. Oh boy. The species, the date. Oh boy. This is
Yeah.
such a this is such a burden you're placing on small business here, providing an invoice to a customer who buys it.
The other interesting thing, I just when I was reading that and then reading the comments, is the part about the consumer recording the license plate of the truck that delivered the wood. And I was thinking, I wonder how many guys are like, hey, asking their neighbor, can I borrow your truck this weekend? I got to deliver some
Yeah.
firewood.
Yeah. So that is the other thing too. I've been doing this now for 8-ish years. I am pretty sure there is no firewood police here in the state of Ohio. It's kind of like, you're not allowed, it's against the law for me to drive my firewood into Pennsylvania. And I don't know, but I still wouldn't do it because my name and phone number are on the side of my truck. And some of the state roads are going through like state parks and stuff, so there could be a lot of game wardens that may be a little bit more sensitive. But the bottom line is I don't violate the law like that. And that is also why I stay within my 2 counties, because of the quarantine for the spongy moth. So I just play by the rules like that. But here you go. This was a list of reasonable rules. They've been on the books forever. And now you have a whole group of people on this users group, getting their pitchforks and tiki torches out. They're going to storm the Bastille.
Yeah, they were wound up,
Yeah.
and it was just they were furious. I mean, some people, but the problem was they were taking everything the wrong way. Like they were not actually reading and understanding what was being said, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people that live with inductive logic. They have their own belief system and then they just hunt and seek for something that justifies it instead of reading something and then analyzing it on the face of it. Because these rules are reasonable, they've been in place forever. The fact that firewood is taxed in the state of Ohio, that's been on the books too for how long? And you've had there was even, there were a couple state representatives that put a bill in to add an exemption for firewood, and it got voted down. It never made it out of committee. So sales of firewood in Ohio are taxed. I charge sales tax on my sales. That's why I don't even deal with cash. But now I guess that's coming to an end too, because they just passed a law that you must accept cash in Ohio.
Hmm.
Um, every state has its problems, but usually here in Ohio, if you don't own a nuclear power plant or a charter school, usually things don't go as easy for you. If you live in Ohio, you know what I'm talking about. So all you have to do is Google it.
And I can understand people's frustration with feeling like there's always rules and regulations being put in place that are against them. But as a business, firewood delivery service, firewood supplier, wouldn't you want these things? Like, wouldn't you want the consumers, like, kind of knowing this so that you could then deliver on the expectations of the consumer? Like that to me just seems like, all right, yeah, I got to provide an invoice. Okay, I got to actually deliver what I say I'm going to. Okay, is that really that hard to do? Like, I don't know what the big deal really is when it comes down to it, other than the fact of feeling like I'm being told to do something and I have to, conform to these regulations. But
Yeah.
is it that big a deal?
Yeah. That whole thing was real frustrating. It's just, this goes back to a few years ago when there was this outrage in the firewood community about the state of New York is banning the sale of firewood, or you're not allowed to burn firewood anymore in the state of New York. And everyone was up in arms and posting all this stuff, and like, this is what, government, they're taking away our rights and this and that. Not many people ever stopped to check to see if this was actually true. And while I don't live in New York, I'm pretty sure that you're allowed to burn firewood in the state of New York.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, that the whole article, it had nothing to do with anything about banning nothing. And if you were to, well, I just went in and typed it into Google, is firewood being banned in the United States? And AI says no, it isn't.
No, it's not.
And then like a lot of these comments too are coming out with, like control, and they're trying to control us and they're banning and this and that. And it's like, gosh, no, they're not. It has nothing to do with that. Now, you could be upset about us being taxed here in the state of Ohio. Firewood is still largely a black market industry. I know that sounds kind of bad, but it's technically when you sell stuff at a flea market or out of your out at
Yeah.
your mailbox,
Under the
it's,
radar.
yeah, off the books kind of stuff.
Off the books. There you go.
But that's largely how it's sold. But if you're a professional service, you choose to be professional and you play by these rules.
Right. And then I don't see, again, back to the point of a lot of people talking about running a firewood business and being in the firewood business. Then you would want that. I mean, that's just something that you would, put on that spreadsheet of yours that you have to calculate out and figure out. And
Yeah.
that's part of running a business. But there is also then those that just sell firewood and want to take the quick $100, put it in their pocket, and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. And like I said, there's no firewood police.
No,
I
that's the
think
other thing.
I think where this would come into play, like all of these rules, would be if I got a call from a customer and they want a cord of firewood, and I deliver it to them and I dump it on their driveway and leave, and then they stack it and it comes out to a third of a cord of firewood. So they would probably want to call and complain. Who would they call and complain to? Weights and Measures or the county auditor, that this professional guy here just ripped me off. If I was just someone selling off of Facebook, that's buyer beware, I suppose. But in this case here, the state is providing guidelines and standards for the professional sale of firewood.
Yep.
Yeah.
It would be different, however, if there was like some government agency form that was going through all the Facebook marketplace postings of firewood for sale and following up to see if those people were like registered as a business or legit, by the books, or tracking transactions of sales. That would be different. But like to your point, there really isn't a firewood police out there. And
Yeah.
this is more geared towards bringing awareness to the consumer of what to watch out for so that you don't end up getting a third of a cord when you paid for a full cord.
Yeah. Yeah. There is so many ways that a customer gets ripped off when they're making a purchase. And, it all starts, the one I always come back to is like when you want to buy a truckload of firewood. And I still get voicemails, people call and they are asking if I could deliver a truckload of firewood. And that's just, that's where it all begins. What kind of truck? Is it a Ford Ranger or an F-150? Is it a short bed, a long bed? Is it a dump truck? Is it a tandem axle dump, that
Yeah.
the state uses to plow the roads with? What is a truckload? And there's just always this general idea of when you stand back and stare at a pile of wood and you think about how much money it's worth.
Yeah.
And then especially when it's dumped, because you always think you got a lot more than what's really there when you stack it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where the firewood people get bad reputations. The people that deliver garbage. That story I told, the guy was telling me the guy showed up in a Jeep for his truckload of firewood. It was a Jeep, and the wood wasn't even split and covered in mud and mushrooms, like he dug it out of a ditch somewhere. There's no uniformity, there's no standards, and that's where, I don't know. It's like it gets based upon reputation or relationships. When you actually do have a good shopping experience, a good purchasing experience, you stay with that person. But that is, the opportunity that I saw in starting a business was this Wild West out there. And I had felt that if you take these steps to become a legitimate business, get a vendor's license, take credit cards, you charge sales tax, you have professional vehicles, you look professional, it takes all of that uncertainty out of there.
Takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but this post is garbage. This
Well,
whole thing.
the post was just fine as a PSA, but the comments and the reaction was
Well, I'm
garbage.
talking the headline, the way
Yeah, 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 yeah.
whoever the moderator of that group is, it all started with that headline. It was inflammatory.
Yes, they reposted or posted to their group with that headline. Right.
Yeah, I don't have a clue which goes on in Summit County, but that just tells me, because a lot of these people, they all get on there and they all hate the same politicians. So I would imagine that whoever it is, the lady, I can't think, I just clicked away from it, Scalise, probably they have a problem with her in the past, and this is just a way to throw
Yep.
rocks at her. Yeah.
Yep. Bring her back in and drag her through the mud.
Yeah. We need to make a PSA. The government is not banning firewood. Gosh, why did there are certain municipalities that are coming up with local ordinances to regulate the type of stoves you can install. Or you might live in a neighborhood, what are those places in in Florida that people live in, and they all sue each other because you're not allowed to park your car in your driveway?
The HOAs.
The HOAs. You're not allowed to have any house built with a fireplace. Those are all these local agreements that you agree to live under. But there is no one banning firewood. Is not.
Not happening.
It is not happening. Okay.
All right.
And they're not trying to control you, because they're trying to tax it. So the Ohio state government has been taxing our firewood since the 2010s, and I don't feel any more controlled now than I did then.
Yeah, I've been paying taxes as well.
But
my roadside stand. Yeah.
Could be because I have well water and I'm not on the city water where they're trying to control us. Gosh.
Yes. All right. Well, I know you don't have anything to do because your tractor's not in your wood yard. But I need to go get a few things done here.
Yeah. I'm going to build me a spaceship and go land on the sun.
Oh, that'd be good because this weekend it's going to get cold up here. Take me with you.
I would just go at night, and that way I won't burn up.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Shall we strike up the band?
I think we should ban firewood.
Oh, no. The band. Not the band.
It's a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Banning firewood. Gosh.
Not yes. So the band, not the band. Strike up the band.
Strike up the band. Let's ban the firewood. Strike it up.
Oh, all right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Ban the band. Or ban the band.
The #1 firewood podcast in the world.
Yeah. We are the Wood Hounds, and thank you for tuning in. And we are available on all of your streaming services. Please consider giving us a 5-star review. It does help a lot. So, Dan, let's leave all of our listeners with the following. Don't ban
firewood.
Because firewood is not being
banned.
And because of that, we can all have
a great day.